Welcome back to the Press Box, everybody. Zach Miller, Mark Haskell here for another edition. And as you can see, the baseball logo is behind us because we're starting with the World Series, of course.
We are.
And the Red Sox have won their sixth straight postseason game after beating up on the Dodgers for a second straight night in the cold, chilly confines of Fenway Park, which is always great to see.
It's been unbelievable. And before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to Lori over at Joe's Hairstyling for getting me all ready for today. Feeling good, looking good. I'm ready to go. I told her I'd do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, whatever.
And the New England Patriots are a fine football team. Okay.
There,
I'm
you
done.
said it.
All right.
You're
Okay.
done.
We're done. So yeah, World Series. We're starting Game 3 tonight. But before we do that, let's talk about Game 1 and 2. Since we last talked, I don't even think the Red Sox had clinched with the Astros yet. So now we're in. We've got Game 1, the Red Sox with an 8-4 win. Game 2 with a 4-2 win. I'm at the point right now where I feel like the Red Sox are in an excellent position to clinch this World Series, Game 4, and just make it a sweep. I mean, if you look at the first inning of Game 1 of the World Series against the Dodgers, I mean, Mookie Betts is up, probably should have been out, and then all of a sudden, they missed that foul ball.
Yeah.
He gets a single, steals second on the first pitch, and then Benintendi knocks him in with an RBI single. He takes second on the throw. I mean, just beautiful situational baseball, and it was just a beautiful thing to watch. Then JD Martinez knocks Benintendi in, and not once in the first two games. I mean, briefly we didn't have the lead. I can think of like the fourth inning of Game 2, but not once in this series have I felt nervous or rattled as a fan. Like, I just feel like we have this series fully in control.
Yeah, I feel kind of nervous when the Red Sox start scoring runs with only 1 out or no outs in the inning as opposed to 2 outs. When 2 outs come up in the inning, they're fine.
Yep,
they're going to score 8 runs as they always do. But you're right, though. The Red Sox have just been on fire, especially with their starting pitching. And where the hell did the bullpen come from all of a sudden?
Wow.
It's just like...
where did David Price come from?
Did we go through an alternate reality where the bullpen's good over here and they crossed over and took their bad bullpen and switched? It was just like... and David Price, okay, I guess you can start earning your money now.
Yeah, he ends the AL, he clinches the ALCS for us. He goes 6 innings, strikes out 9, no walks, beautiful performance against the Astros. And then Game 2, he has 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 walks, 3 strikeouts. He also got out of a bases loaded jam. I mean, he worked himself into the jam, but worked himself out of it too, and that was great. And between Price, Kelly, Evaldi, and Craig Kimbrell, they retired the last 16 batters of the game against the Dodgers. That's unbelievable.
Even Kimbrell's been a complete switcheroo from what he was before. Before, when he came in, you're like, all right, let's hold our breath. Make sure we don't blow this thing, because he always got so close, but I mean, the Red Sox
You know what
held
my
on.
favorite Kimbrell is? The Kimbrell that takes the mound that I don't have to take heart medication as he's doing it.
Exactly.
That's my favorite Kimbrell. And we've seen that so far in this World Series.
I think that's everybody's favorite Kimbrell. But before the Red Sox-Dodgers series started, I thought the Red Sox would win probably in 6, maybe 5 games. But now, like you just said, I think the Red Sox go back to L.A. and sweep. I honestly do. I think the Dodgers are in such a hole, and the Red Sox are such a great team that they're not going to dig out of it.
They have such a mental edge over the Dodgers right now. I mean, when you look about it, like the Dodgers, they had 92 wins to end the regular season, and the Red Sox had 108. I mean, I think a lot of people were saying the Red Sox and Astros, whoever wins that is going to win the World Series, because the AL just top to bottom, they just have better teams than the NL does this year, and that isn't always the case. But I don't think anybody would disagree with the fact that the AL seems to be the cream of the crop this year.
And I think Dodgers will lose their 2nd straight World Series, which is it's no easy feat to get to 2 straight World Series coming out of the National League. But the AL teams have just been head and shoulders above the National League this season. I think 6 of the top 10 teams and all 5 out of the top 5 teams throughout the year with the best record in baseball were all AL teams, between the Red Sox, the Astros, the Yankees, the Indians, and what the hell was the other team? I can't remember who it was. The Athletics. And the Athletics, it was just like, they're just so good. I think the Dodgers might have been the first NL team, maybe in 6th, 5th, or 7th or something, to have that top record. So it's weird to see it like that.
Looking ahead to Game 3, we've got let's see who we got starting tonight. We've got Porcello and Walker Buehler. We're taping this on a Friday, so this Game 3 is tonight. Alex Cora was talking a little bit. I guess JD Martinez has been a little hampered with an ankle injury. They're saying maybe he'll play, maybe he won't play. At last check before we started taping, said that Martinez should play tonight. It means he'll play left field or right field, because I guess they're going to probably put Pierce at first base, and then you've all of a sudden you've got to potentially put Benintendi in center, maybe bench ALCS MVP Jackie Bradley Jr. in that situation. He also went on record to say that they asked him about Mookie Betts potentially playing second base. Of course, when Mookie Betts used to play for AA Portland and everything, he came up as a second baseman, transitioned to center field.
He still takes fielding there every day as well.
And he said he is not playing second base I mean, he's not starting at second base. So I mean, where we're in the NL parks and the pitchers are going to hit, I mean, like, you know, there's a lot of switching, you know, defensive replacements and things like that. So maybe late in the game, like, it seemed that he was implying maybe he could see some time there, but the plan is not to play him there for a full 9 innings.
I think Porcello's actually been pretty good at batting, if I remember correctly, when we've played the NL teams. He's smacked a couple pretty big hits that have scored some runs. So
he's not Josh Beckett.
Yeah, it's true.
Remember, Josh Beckett would always hit home runs against the Phillies for some weird reason whenever they would go play at Philly.
I forgot about that. And how about the young crop of Red Sox players? Devers, Benintendi, even Betts, and Bogarts. Even though Bogarts and Betts have kind of been there for 4 or 5 years, they're still only like 25 years old.
Yeah.
Like, their shelf life is still really, really high. And it's just amazing to watch these young kids. We're going to be good for a while.
It's a great young nucleus of players and great people as well.
Even Martinez is young. He's only like 28.
He is. Did you read the story about Mookie Betts delivering the food to the homeless people after Game 2 of the World Series? Like, he was spotted by somebody. Rob Bradford has a story about it on I think it's EEI, or I can't remember where you work for.
Just Sorry, Rob.
Yeah, just Google it. Just Google Mookie Betts, great person. And it was like 1:45 in the morning, and Mookie Betts and his brother were delivering food to the homeless. And the homeless guy, like, because, Mookie and his brother, they were wearing hoodies, so they didn't even really know who they were. They were just thankful to have some food. And, like, such a high coming off, World Series Game 2 victory, and you're off feeding the homeless. I mean, does it get any better than that? I mean, he might not be just the MVP, most valuable player. He's a most valuable person. See what I did there? See what I did there, Zach? Oh man, what a humanitarian! Oh no, don't leave, don't leave. No. But that's another fantastic thing about this. And he wasn't even like looking for the recognition or anything like that. Like, it wasn't like TMZ cameras were following him around and stuff like that. Like, he got spotted. Yeah, which is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. But now we're going to shift gears. And
I'm glad you didn't leave.
Yeah, I almost did. I got halfway there, but
I had that one
I
all
just had
ready
to
to go.
stay.
Okay,
anyway, now we're going to switch over to the high school playoff scene. Field hockey is done. And we're in the thick of soccer, and we have 2 teams left in soccer, and football starts tonight. It's Friday, and someplace Saturday. The Camden Hills game got moved to Monday afternoon at home. And
the Madomic football team, they will now play at noon against Nokomis, not 1 o'clock. They're trying to get a little ahead of the rain that's supposed to be hammering us tomorrow.
Yeah,
so.
And the wind. It's going to be a pretty nasty day. And they moved all the cross-country, is that championships? State championships?
State championships. Yep. They've moved the times up on all of those. You can go to our website, knox.villagesoup or waldo.villagesoup.com. Ken Waltz wrote a story on that, so all the particulars on the times and everything are all right there for you.
Yep. So Mark and I have been out and about every single day this week, jaunting around the state for all of our Midcoast teams that have had various forms of success, from Winslow up to Bangor, over to here, down to Lincoln Academy for Madomic getting moved for weather reasons. And Mark has all the scores here, so we'll let him read them off if you've missed anything.
We've got a handful of scores here. First, we'll talk about the teams that didn't make it very far. With Islesboro, they lost to Islesboro boys. They lost to Temple Academy 9-2, so they're out. Both Searsport teams in back-to-back days had to go to Greenville and play their games. Yep. Searsport boys lost 2-1 in overtime to Greenville, and the Searsport girls lost 4-0 to Greenville. So those teams are out. We've now got talk about a couple other games. Winslow girls beat Oceanside 2-1. That was a great game. Zach will talk about that in a minute. So Oceanside is out. The Brewer boys, an upset, beat number 1 Mount View 5-3.
Number 3 Mount View.
Sorry, it seemed like they were number 1 because they were undefeated. But yeah, number 3. Undefeated and number 3 ranked Mount View. They fall to Brewer 3-2. The Herman girls, they're ranked number 2. They beat number 7 Mount View 5-3. Camden girls, as usual, they're the top seed. They won 8-0 over Hamden Academy.
No surprise
very
there.
handily there. The Madomic girls, they beat, they're the number 4 seed. They beat number 5 Caribou 2-1 after 2 40-minute halves, 2 15-minute overtimes, and 2 rounds of penalty kicks.
It's a lot of time running around on the field.
That was unbelievable.
In the cold.
I'll talk about that really quickly. So that was a hell of a game, obviously. And the cool thing about that was, obviously you've got your first round of PKs all pretty well situated, but for the second round, you kind of just got to decide on the fly, because you're really not thinking, if this goes to the second round, these girls are going to go, like, you're just wanting to win it in the first round. So it came down to freshman Jane Vinoy, and she wins the game for Madomic Valley. Yes, you're right, Annie Vinoy. Jane Vinoy. Why am I saying
Where'd
Jane
you get Jane
Vinoy?
from?
I don't know. Maybe it's a Freudian
It's
slip.
Annie Vinoy.
She probably has a sister. Yes, Annie Vinoy. Sorry, Annie. She got the game winner against Caribou, and it was just unbelievable, because she used to, I guess she used to be their PK taker when she was a middle school player, and then she really didn't want to do it too much this year, and she didn't. And their coach, Bree Morrill, just kind of said, you can do this, you got this. And she went in there, and she sent them on to the semifinals. So now they're going to Presque Isle. That's going to be a 3 o'clock game on Saturday. So if you're driving to Presque Isle, Get up early and get up there.
Yeah, I think the bus leaves at like 8 o'clock for the girls' soccer team to get up there and play. I was at Oceanside Winslow girls. That game was much more competitive, especially with the wind that they were playing with. Oh my goodness, I'm sure you had it down at Lincoln Academy. It was at almost 40 mile per hour gust winds. Oceanside played with that wind and against it, obviously, depending on what side they played with. They played against it in the second half. They scored a second half goal about 1:45 in, thanks to Abby Vayu off a nice free kick that kind of just floated right up over the line and over the goalie and right into the top left corner of the net. Winslow got the eventual game winner goal with about 8 minutes left to go in the game. Callie Grover tried to clear the ball, but one of the girls, I forget her name, blocked the ball. The ball rolled into the box. In Winslow's field, if you've never been there, almost the last section of the field where the goal is kind of slanted downward. So I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yes, yeah.
So you probably know what I'm talking about.
I
and it so the ball will pick up steam and actually roll away from the defense. You won't catch it, and the ball was rolling away. The girl got there a step before Rachel Joyce did, and she kind of just tipped it up and over and went in the net for the goal. And Winslow won 2-1. Oceanside was on the defense most of that game, and Rachel Joyce had a lot of stops, and that defense played a hell of a game to keep Winslow limited to only 2 goals. As Winslow was like 13-1 or something during the regular season as a 3 seed. Granted, they were behind, I think, Presque Isle and Caribou or something like that.
Right, no, that's correct.
No, not Caribou, Presque Isle and
Herman.
Herman, yeah.
Yeah, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah, Winslow was just attacking, and they have great forwards, and the Ocean defense just clamped down. They almost actually won that game. It was tied most of the second half, and
yeah, it was a late goal.
It was a late goal. Like I said, 8 minutes left, and from there they were just kind of playing catch up, and they had to play the wind, and it was tough for Rachel to punt the ball or for Chloe Jones to kick the ball for a goal kicks wise because the wind would just knock it right down and basically blow it right back down the hill towards the defense and the goal. So it was just tough for the Mariners, but they played a hell of a game. So should be proud of the way they played.
So Winslow is now going to go to face number 2 Herman. I just went and saw the Herman girls beat number 7 Mount View 5-3 yesterday. That game was at Husson College because I guess
University.
Husson University. He went to NESCOM. Sorry. Husson University. You guys are legit. Sorry. But I guess Herman's field has just been decimated with rain, and so a lot of games that are going to be at Herman, they're looking for turf, and they found some turf at Husson, and they played it there. So they won that game 5-3, but I got there 25 minutes left in the first half. It was already 3-0 Herman. By the time I got out of my car, they had scored the 4th goal. I mean, Herman, they are an unbelievable team. They've only got 1 loss all year, and that was to Presque Isle. I think a lot of people probably have Herman and Presque Isle probably penciled in for that regional championship. Not that Winslow's any slouch, obviously.
Or Madomic.
Or Madomic, for that matter. Madomic can go up there and pull the upset, but Presque Isle, that's a long ways away, and it's turf. It's almost like a small college. It's such a beautiful venue.
I've never been there, so I can't.
Not to say that Madomic couldn't go up there and pull the upset, but I think those 2 teams are definitely the strongest. It doesn't mean that any team can't win on any given night. But I think you look at that Herman team and you just a lot like Winslow. They've got a lot of offensive firepower, and Mount View, they had an injury midway through the game or midway through the first half rally. It was Gabby Raven, she's a forward for Mount View. She's kind of a big part of what they do, and that kind of hurt them losing them. But Mount View, they got a couple goals late. I mean, there was a free kick that got lined up, and they hammered home the rebound on that. They scored off a corner kick. I mean, so they have and this is a team, they've lost to Herman 3 of the last 4 years in the playoffs. So like Herman just has a mental edge over Mount View. But I talked to David Page, the Mount View coach, after the game, and he said, this is a step forward for their program. Just scoring goals and scoring 3 goals against a program like Herman. I mean, that's something to hang your hat on. But we'll transition quickly to the Mount View and Brewer boys. Now Zach and I were both at this game. I'm going to let you chat a little bit about it first. Obviously, Brewer with a 3-2 win. Maybe a little controversy. I mean, not totally, but obviously, one of their better players got a red card midway through the second half. For Mount View, Andrew Savoy, and they had to play the last 20 minutes of the game down a man, and they were down 2-1 at that point, and that was a tough thing to overcome.
Yeah, Mount View was down 2-1, and then Brewer went up 3-1 on a nice, beautiful indirect kick or direct kick, whatever the hell it's called. And which kind of just went into the corner of the net. But Mount View actually came back and scored with about 3 minutes left and almost scored again. They had a couple nice chances, but I think the biggest thing in that game, there were 4 penalty shots, 2 for each team, and Mount View didn't convert on either one of them. They converted on the rebound off of the penalty shot.
On the second one,
on the second one, which bounced back out, and they kicked it in for the goal, but technically still didn't convert on the penalty shot, whereas Brewer connected on both of their penalty shots, which ultimately proved to be the difference in the game.
Right.
Was missing those 2 penalty kicks.
Yep, no, it really did. I mean, and obviously, having the red card and playing down a man the last 20 minutes, I mean, that makes things very, very difficult for you to, like, you're playing, 10 on 11. I mean, that makes it really difficult. But, but Mount View, they have nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, like, you think about this program, just think about it. The last 2 years in the regular season, they have gone 27-1 in the regular season. They've lost twice in the KVAC championship games to Maranacook, which is like they're winning the state championship almost every year. Mm-hmm. And then they lost to a really tough Herman team in the quarterfinal last year. And then they lost to this team. They lost to Brewer. And and it's kind of a shame that it shook out for them like that. But a lot of people probably have a bad taste in their mouth losing. Like you're thinking, oh wow, this team's undefeated. We're going to go the whole way. But this team is terrific. They're really, really good, but this is sports. I mean, like anybody can beat any team on any given night, and that's just kind of
why
what
they play the games.
That is why they play the games.
I think unless you're the Camden Hills girls soccer team, which they played Bangor today, and they beat Bangor 6-4, second game of the year, and they beat them 7-1 up at Bangor with the hell of a second half. So we'll see how that game plays out. That's this afternoon. Was supposed to be yesterday, or excuse me, tomorrow. But it's because of the weather they moved it to today. So
yeah, and they beat Hamden Academy 8-0. So now they're going to play Bangor, and if they win, they'll be in the regional championship next week. Don't have a date and time on that yet, but keep looking at the website. By the way, all the games that we've talked about, they're all fully detailed stories about everything that's happened on our websites: knox.villagesoup.com, waldo.villagesoup.com. So if you're tired of hearing Zach and I talk, just go and read those stories.
Yeah.
And a lot of good stuff in there. A lot of photos, videos, and comments from players, coaches. A lot of good stuff. We've been working hard for you. We're going to keep doing it here for the next week, 10 days as well. So.
Yeah. Mark and I will be up at football. We'll be at Belfast for a little bit, Belfast at MCI, and then we'll be at Oceanside at Herman for a little bit. We'll be at the Camden Hills Bangor game this afternoon. So Mark and I have a busy afternoon and night ahead of us.
We do. There's lots of football going on. As he just said, Belfast will be at MCI tonight at 7. Oceanside and Herman will play tonight at Hamden Academy at 7 because, again, Herman's Fields, they're in bad shape. Tomorrow, Madomic football will be at Nokomis at noon. Tonight, we've also got the Mount View football team. They're up in Madanocook. They've got their Class D South, Class D North playoff game. That's a 7 o'clock start as well. And then Camden football, they're going to play their Class E game Monday at 2:30. That game was also going to be Saturday, but we're going to just get washed out on Saturday. So they moved that game to Monday, 2:30 at Don Palmer Field in Rockport. So.
Well, until next week, we'll have updates on all those football games and the rest of the soccer so far that we've seen. And until then, that's Mark, I'm Zach, and this is the Press Box.